This is the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report. Great to have you with us as Purdue leads North Carolina 26-19. Bill Pito along with Digger Phelps. And look who we found walking around outside. Kansas coach Roy Williams. Roy, thanks so much for being here. You guys off to a 3-0 start. But when you take a look back to last year, 39 games, and then you lose in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Looking back, did you play too many games last year?
You know, Bill, I don't think so. The kids enjoy playing. We were going to practice anyway, but yet there is some thought process. Rafe was hurt at the end of the year. Billy was hurt at the end of the year. But the bottom line is Rhode Island played a great game, and the NCAA, it's one game and you're out.
Let's take a look at one of the great players in the country coming from LSU into Kansas. Lester Earl has not really lived up to his high-profile game.
Well, you know, the Lester that everybody expects to see, he's not healthy yet. Last year he had big surgery in the preseason, in the spring. Couldn't work on his game all year. He'll still have a block like that and play like that. And then May 12th of this year had severe knee surgery. And he's a youngster who has great athleticism who hadn't been able to do that yet. That little bounce right there is really good, though, because I tell you, he's got a quick bounce. When he can go up and finish like that, you see those flashes, you think he might be coming. It's the first dunk I've seen him make this year off both feet.
Well, when Jacques Brown was hurt, you had a guard that I loved right away. Ryan Robertson took that team over, goes 11-0 in the start, and now it's his team. But a part of that, too, when you take a look at Ryan Robertson, the perimeter game of your team, you're still searching for that consistency on the perimeter.
Well, Ryan is a youngster that can really shoot the basketball, and this year with Jeff Boschee in the backcourt playing some at the point, that relieves Ryan with some responsibilities of other things. He can shoot it in, but Digger, I like you, 49-5. That's his record as a starting point guard at Kansas.
All right, so you guys are off to that 3-0 start, and we'll talk more about your early season when we come back. And also when we come back, we'll take a look at our first game, St. John's against Stanford. Close contest, went right down to the wire, and Peter Sauer with a key three for the Cardinal down the stretch. We'll have that and much more when we continue after this. Back on the Courtyard by Marriott halftime report. Stanford St. John's, our first game tonight. Lou Carnesecca, Brian Mahoney, two former St. John's coaches checking it out. Eric Barkley, the freshman, runs into the Sauer screen, went down hard. This is late in the game, under a minute to go. Stanford's up by 1. Barkley stayed down for quite some time and then walked off. He almost came off on a stretcher, but then he ended up coming off with some assistance. Ron Artest, the drive, makes the shot, is fouled. That ties the game with 14 seconds to go. Artest missed a free throw, and then after a pair of free throws from Arthur Lee, it's a two-point game. Artest can't get it to go, and Stanford survives barely. The final score, 55-53. With 6:07 to go, St. John's led it 48-38, but St. John's scores just 5 points in the final 6:07. Stanford now 4-0.
And that's the experience factor. Right? You got to credit Arthur Lee. He finally stepped up. Sauer hits that three, and of course they made the foul shots when they counted. St. John's played a great game, game playing for what you consider for Mike Jarvis to get this going. So yeah, a disappointment for St. John's, but you know the thing I'm concerned about, Roy, when I take a look at games, this game we just saw that score. Stanford 55-52. IU last night against Utah, 52-49. Syracuse, 58-46. Why at this time of the season so many low-scoring games?
Well, the defense is intensity. You can always be intense. Offense has to be smooth, and everybody has to do a good job of the execution. I just think the defenses are way, way ahead of the offenses right now.
Well, of course, you had a game in Philadelphia we know about last week, and that was another one. When you take a look at what Penn did in the Palestra, your game was 61-56, but yet the Palestra, and, you know, your star player here hits a couple big shots for you.
Well, you know, we had 19 points in the first half because we were awful, but we were still doing it defensively. And then Jeff Boschee here in the highlights, you see, knocking in a big basket for us. We were up 1. He knocks that one in, gives us a 3-point lead, but it was a heck of a basketball game for us in a great environment.
Now, Roy, tell everybody why you ended up playing at Penn.
True story, our announcers, Bob Davis, Max Falkenstein, over 20 years, and Max Falkenstein for 53 years, had never done a game in the Palestra, so I called Fran Dunphy and said, would you mind playing us? And he said yes. So it wasn't the smartest thing I've ever done, I can tell you that, but it worked out great, and it was a great college atmosphere.
And then they said, next year you want to play a game where?
They said they hadn't done a game in Cancun either, so we may have to make that trip, too.
Look for Kansas next year at Cancun. Bring the suntan lotion.
Digger will come back into coaching the GO chances down there.
Hey, one more thought when you go through the process of what's going on this year with college basketball. You had a good point. Temple lost the game, or won the game the other night, on the controversial call at the end of the game where if I get the ball on offense and I get tied up by the defense. The defense is awarded the ball. You like the rule?
I like the rule. I think you should reward the defense for tying up the offense. I think instead of looking over that arrow and see which way it's pointing, reward the defense for a good defensive play. Last year, national semifinals, Stanford forces a jump ball with Kentucky. Down 1, inside 25 seconds, they go to the air and give the ball back to Kentucky.
And that's why they lost that game. So
I'm not saying that, but that was bad.
But
Mike Montgomery didn't like it.
Now, you're going to see Tom Izzo in Chicago next week. Hey, next week, we got you. Grade 8, baby, playing Kansas, Kentucky. So we'll see what happens with that rule.
And in town this weekend for the Tip-Off Classic, taking on UNLV in Springfield.
Friday in Springfield.
Hopefully it'll be a great game. Thank you very much.
Good luck to you guys, and thanks for dropping by.
Thank you.
All right, our next game on ESPN, the third of 3 tonight, as we're on Thanksgiving Eve, Indiana, Syracuse, the finals of the Maui Invitational, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time.